Okay, says I'm live. G'day out there in Peanut Land. Good to see you. I think thumbs up if you can hear me. It would be good. I'm guessing. Did you have to mute Farmers?
Hang on, just waiting for it. There we go. Now we're live my end. So that's the delay. Live. What's that? It's at least 20 seconds.
About 10 seconds.
Yeah.
There we go. We're up and running.
Hey!
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, it's been a few weeks, hasn't it? So, you know.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything, though. I don't know why the settings changed in OBS. I think OBS just been OBS.
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't got a couple of updates, and I haven't run them either. So what exciting things have you been up to the last 3 weeks? I know what Paul's been up to. He's been playing with his deck.
I have been playing with my deck, yeah. No, not actually been playing with my deck yet because it's not built yet, but been playing with other building products.
So you're fiddling with your deck?
I'm thinking about my deck.
Thinking about your deck? Okay.
Yeah. 24/7.
I'm not going there. I just know I'm not doing this. No, nothing of any great excitement has happened, I don't think. I mean, you know, the insanity that's Flat Earth just trickles along as it does. I don't watch any of their streams. I just watch what people are reacting to. I don't know whether you got it lined up, but Blue's just put out a video about Brian's logic and his understanding.
Yeah, I was going to play that one. Yep, I haven't watched
it. I think he's now. I haven't watched it yet, but I think he's released another video on it, and I think it might. But I haven't watched it. It might be in reaction to Blue's video. I mean, because you know what Brian's logic like. He comes up with some shit, and then says, "This is how it works," when it quite patently doesn't. And then when anybody tries to point out, "Yeah, Brian, actually you're wrong," he just calls them fucking idiots.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I mean, his delusion. There's no end to the depths of his delusion. I mean, he really just does make shit up, and then insists that he's right and everybody else is wrong. It's quite something.
Well, I was going to ask the question as to why he was so fascinated on GPS and getting it wrong at the moment, because I think I saw 3 videos when I was looking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm presuming that may be something that's kicked off in, because I think he still appears in Oakley's stream, you know, that flat earth debate nonsense that he does virtually every day, because help, I need the money, you know. But of course, I don't watch any of them because I'm not suicidal.
It's been years since, I reckon it must be at least 5 years since I've seen one of them.
Yeah. It's been a long time, because it's just the same old shit. It's just Nathan Oakley putting on his act and screaming and shouting and insulting people.
It's like Days of Our Lives, hey? If you don't watch it for 5 years and you suddenly watch an episode, you're right back into where it left off.
It hasn't changed much.
Yeah, nothing new, nothing's changed. It's all the same old shit.
Yeah. Maybe a few different actors, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, probably the actors are playing the same parts. They've just been replaced.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. They're no. I do have Brian. I think I do have Brian on my list. I think I picked one, but he's getting it wrong again about
problem is
what GPS is.
Make short videos.
No, it takes a while, and his points are very short. But he makes like a 20-minute video to get his wrong point out. You know.
Yeah.
And he'll make statements. You say, no, that's not right. And that leads to where he gets, you know. Oh, GPS, they're giving the GPS, your phone's got a compass in it, so that's how it knows where it is. No.
iPhone's got a compass app, but that doesn't tell it where it fucking is.
I guarantee you, if you gave a compass to a flat earther, they would have no idea where they are.
So, that didn't help. Oh, I'm just looking through my list of stuff, because I've been putting this together over the last few weeks, so there's a few in here I don't have any clue what they're about. So well, I don't remember what they're about, might be a better way of saying it. I was going to see if I find
you just thought, that looks interesting.
Oh, well, I usually put something on that, okay, I could bear to watch this for 5 minutes. Is usually my judge of if I'm going to put it on or not. Because you'll get some there that says, the title looks interesting. Then you go in, it's 1.5 hours of some stuff. So you skip through to try and find where they talk about it. And then they make it very exciting. And they just get it wrong or whatever. It's just not worth it. Yeah. I'm trying to find the video on this final experiment. Hang on, here we go. I haven't watched it. So I think this is it. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Anyway, let me see if I can get this. I haven't set up for Chrome. Gives me a reason to set up the YouTube. He says, what's that called? Score is now 1-0. I'm looking for. There we go. Okay. You can hear me talking, but you can't see what I'm doing, which is probably a good thing to be. Okay. There we go. I believe this is it. Now, given my luck with sound recently, let's see if this works.
Hey everyone, I'm on vacation, but I have a significant update that I needed to share with everyone. In case you missed it, our website changed to a scoreboard. We're going to be keeping score of how many flat earthers and how many globe earthers participate in the final experiment.
Where's the scoreboard?
Yeah. Where is the scoreboard?
Is it a
Or is that a
0-0
separate
so
website?
far?
Not on... Oh, there we go. I don't think he'll get any flat earthers at all. Not one.
No.
Because if they thought they could use Antarctica to prove that the Earth is flat, one of them would already have done it. Because several of them have got enough money to get down there.
You can hear me better if I turn the mic on.
Yes. I thought perchance it'd gone quiet for a reason.
Yes. I had a little cough and I thought, oh yes, I'll be polite and I'll turn the mic off while I have a cough.
Yeah. And you forgot to open the mic.
Turn it up again, yeah. Okay, so this is apparently the man behind the experiment. So I haven't seen this one. So it's 19 minutes. We'll see how it goes.
Took me over a year to come up with the final experiment. Every time I would come up with an idea, it would just never work. And then one day, I got it. But I should probably go back to the very beginning.
I don't think you have
I'm Will
yet.
Duffy, and I pastor a small church in Colorado. The day was August 2nd, 2021. I was scrolling through Facebook, and a friend of mine, her name is Wendy, she posted something about flat Earth. And at first, I thought she must be joking, but there was no punchline. So I read the comments, and it seemed genuine. This was very peculiar to me. How could someone today, in the 21st century, think the Earth is flat? And so I did what most people would do, and I commented to figure out what was going on. And I quickly learned she was very serious in her position. Wow. And my first reaction was, well, this will be easy to prove her wrong. I'll just show her some proof that we live on a globe. She'll quickly change her mind, and we can go on our merry way. But that is not what happened at all.
Yeah, as we all discovered.
She was ready for my argument.
Anyone who's done that.
She had good, solid answers for the proofs I was giving her.
What?
To be brutally honest,
What? How could she have good solid answers for them? What
Sorry,
questions
that
do-
doesn't put him in a very good intellectual bracket.
No.
No.
she knew the globe arguments better than I did.
Well, that's
Now, a
doesn't
lot of
surprise me.
people
she
at this point would just write Wendy off and move on and not deal with the new information presented to them. But that is not who I am. If you know me, you know I have to get to the bottom of things. I have to know the truth. One way or
Really?
the other, whether I'm right or wrong, I have to know the truth. You can
Show me
ask
your
my
girlfriend.
wife. Certain things will even keep me up at night until I figure them out. So instead of ignoring Wendy, I decided I needed to look into this more.
Bet you need to learn some
And
science.
she would send me information, articles, videos, things that I could digest that I had probably never heard of before. And I went deep into the flat earth rabbit hole. And I remember a
dear.
huge moment for me. This was pivotal.
Yeah.
A flat earther pointed out some duplicated clouds on an
Yeah.
image of the earth from space.
Oh
You know
no!
what made this so incredibly interesting? It was on NASA's website.
What, that
I
one where they
went
had
to
to stitch
NASA's
all the images
website
together?
myself
Yeah.
to verify this. And
Because they
sure
could only
enough,
take it from low Earth orbit.
it was quite
Yes.
obvious there were duplicated clouds on what I believed was a picture of Earth from space.
It was a
Well, that's
picture
because
of
you didn't read
This
the
is
title,
that
of,
moment.
did you?
When you really
Exactly.
have to check yourself. That moment where you have to make that decision. Am I willing to go where this might lead? Am I willing to continue down this path knowing what might be at the end? And I just had to keep going. I had seen too much now. I needed to know what else there was that I did not know.
Well, you did the same
And
thing
in
the
this
Flat Earthers
pursuit
did. You
of
didn't
truth,
investigate,
The
did he?
debates were intense. The arguments didn't seem to convince either side. Everyone was pretty firm in their beliefs, and the debate just raged on. I eventually got tired of hearing the same arguments over and over and over again from both
But you
sides.
didn't ask where those photos were taken from.
And that is when I had my light
Yeah,
bulb
like-
moment.
Space.
This moment will forever change my life, and I believe will forever change history as we know it.
No
I was
way.
driving home from work, and driving is where I do most of my deep thinking. And I
Really?
decided on that drive that I was going to come up with a way to settle this debate. Literally settle it.
This
Once
just shows
and
his
for all.
ignorance. That
I didn't have a name for it yet.
It's
but
already been
this
settled. There
was
is no
the
debate. The Earth isn't
genesis
fucking
of
flat.
yeah.
the final experiment. This would be the final experiment in the flat Earth versus globe debate.
Can you hear the music in the
I told my
background?
wife as soon as I walked in the door.
Yeah.
She gets to receive the brunt of my excitement, not understanding why I'm so elated, and just gives me that look of, you know, what in the world are you talking about?
The fuck
I
are you
told
on?
her
Yes.
I was going to end the debate over whether the Earth was flat or a globe.
No, you're not.
She said, and how exactly are you going to do that? I said, I don't know yet, but I've decided to do it, and so I'm going to do it. That began the long and arduous task of figuring out what the experiment would be that could put all of this to bed. And I would brainstorm and brainstorm ideas, and they never panned out. They were either impossible or too expensive or would not be convincing to one side or the other. And then I noticed a pattern. All my ideas were taking me to the southern hemisphere. And this makes sense. The southern hemisphere is very different on the globe model compared to the flat earth model. I would look at flights and come up with ideas of taking those flights and seeing which direction they would travel and what you'd see out the window and how long the flight would be. But there were flaws in all of those ideas. What if there were clouds and you couldn't see out the window? What if the flight was at night? What if a compass doesn't work on a plane or in the southern hemisphere?
Well, it shows your ignorance about compasses
How would we
then.
account for jet streams and know the true ground speed that the plane was traveling?
Compasses always work. It's just a matter what are they pointing at.
And then one day, I was watching an interview, and that is where I finally got the idea for the final experiment. It was David Weiss.
Yeah.
He is best known as Flat Earth Dave. And here's what
He's
No,
best known
well.
as a
One of the
As a-
arguments
I'm
that people
not
As
gonna
an
give
get
effing idiot.
on a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica, and I totally agree. But there is no midnight sun in Antarctica.
That's it. Antarctica
Oh, look,
and the
David Weiss is lying.
24-hour sun.
Again.
That makes a change.
But most importantly,
Lying,
Dave Weiss
grifting piece
made
of
me
shit.
realize the single most important thing when it comes to the final experiment is that both sides agree. Both sides agree that if there is a 24-hour sun, we
Well,
live on a globe.
you're already shot because
with
as soon as you
Antarctica
proposed
as
this,
an
they all came
island
up
at
with
the bottom
reasons
of
why
it.
you would have a 24-hour sun,
And both sides agree
which is
that if
the
there's not a 24-hour
way it
sun,
works, isn't it? As soon as you
we
come up
live
with
on a
something
flat
that says,
plane
well, this shows it's a
with
globe, they
Antarctica
start to say reasons why that works on a
encircling
on a
the
flat
rest of
Earth.
the continents.
Yep.
This was
Apparently,
the
Rich has
most
already come up with
important
for an
foundation
excuse if he's ever to
for
go
the
there and
final
see a
experiment.
24-hour sun. He's got an
Agreement
excuse for it already.
from both sides
Don't know
on
it
what
is,
the
but-
results of the experiment
Well, it
would
doesn't matter
prove.
because when you,
And what I appreciate about Flat Earth Dave is that he, possibly more than anyone else, is willing to put his money where his mouth is.
No, he's not.
yeah,
He's willing to take everybody's money.
yeah, that's right. You'll take care of
I mean,
everything.
that's all he's doing. He's a grifting wanker. I mean, that fucking stupid app of his. Oh yes, I've got the Flat Earth and Moon app. Oh yeah, I based it on
Yeah.
Google Google fucking what's it?
I wrote it. Oh no, actually no, I didn't. I got somebody else to write it. Oh yeah, it's a flat Earth model. That's very right.
yeah.
We
and of course
oh
it
yes, we
doesn't
do
work.
use we do use Google Earth.
That was it. Based on Google Earth, but it's a flat map. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all it is a glorified clock.
Yeah.
He has a public Bitcoin challenge where he will give you 3 Bitcoin if you can show him one proof we live on a globe.
Prove to him.
So this is
no,
You gotta prove-
final
No,
experiment.
because it's his Bitcoin and he decides whether you've met the criteria or not. So he will never pay it out.
You have to prove to him, not
You
show
have
a
to
proof.
prove to him before he gives you the money.
Yeah.
Experiment came to be. This is the journey that I went on personally in my life that culminated with my idea for the final experiment. A lot of people are going to ask where things stand with me. I do believe we live on a globe, but I came up with the final experiment because I can't prove it. There are people who claim they've
dear.
been to Antarctica and
You can't
claim
defend
they've
it?
seen a 24-hour sun, but I've never done that myself.
Oh,
And there are others who
have to do it
claim
yourself.
they've been to Antarctica and claim the sun was not visible for 24 hours. Again, I've never done this for myself.
yeah, because I probably went in the
The
middle of
final
winter.
experiment seeks to
Yeah.
eliminate having to figure out who's telling the truth and decipher exactly what it was that people saw in the sky and to figure out why their videos have edits and cuts in them.
Well, they
We
don't.
remove all of that
Well,
and we simply perform the experiment.
it's simply not possible to take a 24-hour long video.
It's not easy.
Who's
no.
going to sit down and watch 24-hour long video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one.
So they usually stop frames put together, right? So yeah.
Time lapse. Yeah.
Time lapse. That's the word I was looking for. I had a mental.
Yeah.
I was thinking stop motion. I think it's not
See,
stop
that's,
motion.
that's not good enough for the flat earthers. It's not uncut.
No, that's
Neither
right.
is a video. A video is just a sequence of pictures anyway.
Yeah. Yes, I agree, nerd. I think that's exactly what happened. I can't see him putting up his money to go himself, even though he can easily, in theory, he should be able to afford it. So.
Experiment together, side by side, with an agreement ahead of time that there either will be a 24-hour sun or there won't be. And what it means depending on which one we find while we're there. So let me first answer the one question everyone is going to ask. What if you don't get someone from each side to agree to
No, the first question you can ask is who's going to pay for it. But anyway.
go to Antarctica? That's a valid concern. And because we wanted the final experiment to be final, we considered this ahead of time. And we will be paying for one person from each side to go to Antarctica for the final experiment. And if you would like to sponsor someone to go and be there with us in Antarctica, that would be great. You can sponsor a specific person. You can sponsor someone of our choosing from a specific side, flat or globe. Or better yet, you can sponsor 2 people, one from each side. This is one of the reasons we invited 24 flat earthers and 24 globe earthers to participate in the experiment itself.
They didn't invite
So
me.
that we should have
Just say
plenty
no.
from each side who are excited to participate. As you saw in our last video that we released on YouTube, flat earthers have been saying for years that they are not only willing to go to Antarctica, but they are already making plans to go. So I'm
Yeah,
not
right.
worried about not
Wrong.
having a flat
Not a
earther
chance.
join us in Antarctica, especially since we will be paying for one of them to go. I could not find many globe earthers talking about going to Antarctica or expressing a desire to go there, but I suspect they are going to want to go as well. They are just as invested in their belief that we live on a globe as
It's
flat
not a belief.
earthers are that we don't
No,
live on a
yeah,
globe.
that's the thing.
The final experiment actually has 3 parts to it. And you
Really?
don't even have to go to Antarctica to participate. The first part of the final experiment is we are going to see if either side starts to change their position and what they've been saying for years. For example, if globe earthers all of a sudden start to say things like, well, there might not be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but there's definitely 24 hours of light. That's a huge change in what they've been saying for years. They have
No.
only said that there definitely is a 24-hour sun during the southern summer in Antarctica.
Well, yes, that's better.
And if flat earthers all of a sudden start saying things like, well, there's actually a second sun, and that second sun does a
I've heard that one already.
360 degree circle around
Not
your
second
head
sun.
when
yeah.
you
Yeah, the Chinese have put up a second sun, apparently. Yeah,
Which of course they haven't.
no.
visit Antarctica. That's a massive change.
Sorry, it disturbed that. I heard that the other day on someone was because you could see a second sun when you look. You know, you get the that optical effect in cameras and telescopes and looking out the window.
Yep.
Where it looks
Yep.
like yeah. So, what do you think about it? It's just, well, no one sees that with their own eyes. They only see that in a camera lens. G'day, Alan. How you going?
Good day.
Good morning.
We're just listening
afternoon,
to
whatever.
whatever
Oh,
this.
yeah, just
Yeah.
What? Who's this guy again? What's his name? Can't remember now.
Duffy.
Will Duffy. Yes.
Will Duffy.
Talking about his final experiment, and yes, it's a bit deluded, the poor guy, but okay.
What they've been saying all these years. They have stated emphatically that there is not a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And the best case scenario is that there is 24
You can't
hours
even get
of
there.
light,
It's also the other
that
thing.
the sun absolutely will not be visible for 24 hours. So part 1 of the final experiment is to see who from either side is going to change their position Now that we are going to actually put it to the test.
It's already changed.
Neither.
Now that we are going to actually
No, it already
do
has on the
this
Flat Earth side.
experiment on
I mean, you still got the one that says there's not, but a lot of the streamers who know that, okay, if this happens, how are they going to explain it, have already got stories going in. Like you say, Witsits already says, he can explain it if it happens,
The flat earthers aren't going to change their position because they have to spout the bullshit because the earth is flat. So they'll come up with some excuse as to what is witnessed. And obviously we're not going to change our position because we know the earth is a globe and you get 24 hours sun and 24 hours of darkness.
Yeah.
So him saying, "Oh, will anybody change their position?" No.
Well, ultimately, no. There's still
We'll
blue.
carry on lying and we'll carry on going, "See, look, we told you."
That's right.
location in Antarctica. Who is going to go back on what they've been saying all along? If they do, that means they really don't believe what they've been saying to their followers. We sincerely hope no one is going to do this. And
Yeah,
we
but
don't
most of
this
suspect
coming from
either
a
side
pastor.
will.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
in case they do, we
I think he also doesn't understand a lot of their argument is that they're anti-globe, not, we're not flat earthers, we're just anti-globe, That's common one
Well,
now.
all of Witt's arguments, if you listen to him, he's not arguing for a flat earth.
Yeah.
we are going to keep track of how many people do this from each side and see if it's only one side or the other that
They'll all
does
go
it,
to the
or
magic
if
light
it's
thing,
about equal on
personal
each
dome.
Part
Yeah.
2 of the final experiment is to keep score of how many of the official invited participants, 24 from each side, actually choose to participate. We will have a scoreboard on our website, thefinalexperiment.com, keeping score of how many of the 24 flat earthers choose to participate and how many of the 24 globe earthers choose to participate. And here's the best part. We have made it incredibly easy to participate and be counted on the scoreboard as someone who officially participated.
Yeah, you pay the money.
If you are one of the 48 who were invited to participate, all you need to do is one of these 3 things, and you will be counted as someone who officially participated in the final experiment. First, you can join us in Antarctica this December. Second, you can interview me
This December coming too. That's still a long way off, really, isn't it? So,
on
Yeah.
your channel to talk about the final experiment. And third, you can submit a suggestion to make the final experiment a more robust experiment. Let me cover each of these in detail. If you want to join us in Antarctica, we will be there from December 14th through December 18th. And you will need to purchase a seat on the plane through Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions. ALE is based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and they've been flying people to Antarctica since 1987, which is over 30 years. If you want to interview me on your channel, just reach out to us and we can get something scheduled. It can be live or pre-recorded and aired at a date and time of your choosing. This is a really fun way to participate, as it's easy, doesn't cost anything, and you don't want to be the only one not talking about the final experiment. I will answer any questions you have and will gladly take questions from your audience as well. And finally, if you want to make a suggestion which will make the final experiment better, that will also count as official participation. We can't think of everything, and I'm sure both sides are going to want to make sure that this experiment is done in full integrity. So no lies, no CGI, no doctored videos. Any idea that you would like for the participants to do while in Antarctica, we will make every effort to make that happen for you. But just your suggestion alone is enough to count on our scoreboard of who has participated and who has not. So this is it. 2024 is the year that this age-old debate will finally come to an end. This will be historic, and you don't want to miss out on participating on such a historic event. And if you were not one of the 48 people invited to be an official participant, don't lose hope. Anyone can participate. Yes, anyone. If you want to come with us to Antarctica, come along. Just email us and we'll get you all the details on our trip. If
Oh,
you
yeah,
want
hang
an
on, I'll just check
interview
my wallet,
on
yeah.
your channel
Yeah, I just
about
looked.
the final experiment, I'd love to.
It's around
Just reach out
somewhere
to me
between
through our
60 and
website,
90, depending
and we
which
can
flight
get
they're
it
taking.
And we
Australian
will
dollars.
keep a small bonus scoreboard of how many people who were not on the official
Yes, Fred.
invitee list who
Well, he's in
interviewed
jail
me,
at the moment.
and see if one side has a lot more than the other. And finally, if you want to make a suggestion for while we are in Antarctica to make the final experiment a more complete, well thought out experiment, contact us through our website. We want nothing more than for this to be the best experiment ever conducted and to be the final experiment.
Do a Falcott
On the shape of
pendulum experiment. That'd
Can't
be fun.
wait.
Not that any of the flat earthers would accept it, but you know.
Excuse me, living under a rock. I've not actually bothered to look at any of this rubbish about the final experiment. Who is that bloke? Exactly.
He's a pastor called Will Duffy. He has a YouTube channel. He's a pastor in the States. He's a big he's
in California.
a man of the cloth.
Okay.
And they have a website, and that's it, which is overly exciting.
It's just as pointless as saying that there is a debate in the first place. I mean, obviously there isn't, because the Earth isn't flat. We know that, but there are idiots who like to pretend it is. And as long as there are idiots who like to pretend it is, there will always be this debate on the shape of the Earth. And him trying to organise people to go to Antarctica is going to make fuck all difference to that. It's just...
So, obviously the two on the flat earth side, not surprisingly at the moment, FTFE and MC2.
Yeah.
And none on the
I
other
take it
side.
we don't know who the flat earther is.
No, there isn't one.
No, there is.
Who they haven't got
no.
one yet. They're waiting for number one. He hasn't turned up.
Yeah, it's a bit rubbish when you think can't just leave the spot blank, can it?
Yeah,
You don't need to go to Antarctica to do anything to prove that the Earth isn't flat.
well,
Just go outside and watch a bloody sunset.
yeah. But even this one, it's sort of like you could tell just by the way he talked about some of the things. He doesn't know the science and doesn't know how to research them too. It's all like, I know the video. He said, "Well, did he investigate where they came from?" And when the other ones, the image. Well, yeah, that's because it's not an image from space. Just because you think it is. Ask for an actual image from space. There's plenty of them there. Well,
I think he's on
about three every 10 minutes. So, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, because that photo is on about when he said, "Oh, some of the clouds are duplicated." That was the later blue marble photo that Apple put out their iPhones or whatever, wasn't it? And he said it's a composite image because at the time they didn't have these satellites, whatever, all the way out there where they could take a photo of the entire Earth. Everything was done in the lower orbit, and it all had to be stitched together and tidied up and all the rest of it.
Well,
it's not like one photo like the original blue marble photos when they just went, "Hey, look at that!" Click.
No, it was meant to be an update on the original Blue Marble photo. So why are you not looking at the original Blue Marble photo, which was taken long before any CGI, and you can actually arrange to go and see the actual negative if you want. bit of work, but you can do it.
Well, technically, it's a transparency, not negative.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, it's
That's
the exposure, the actual film exposure, if you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's better because being a transparency, it's not. When you look at the actual bit of film, you see the image without it all being reversed.
Yes, that's right. And I think it's on a fairly hefty piece of film too, and it was on a it's not on your 110 negative or anything.
It's a 56 by 56 millimeter frame size because it's the standard 6% of Hasselblad.
Yeah.
And it's on perforated 70 millimeter cine film. Because again, they wanted to make sure that they had the sprockets to ensure the wind-on was consistent.
Yes. Then not having gravity or anything else that we're used to down here.
Yeah, not cocking up and not winding the film enough between frames.
Yeah.
Because you don't want overlapping frames, do you?
No. Then they could all be over after that. So
Hey everyone, I'm on vacation,
Sorry.
but I have.
His next video is just basically saying, yeah, we've changed our website. We now have a scoreboard. So that's not very exciting. Won't bother playing that one. You've already seen that. Yes, but now that I've listened to him, it sort of makes sense. It's to like, who would think that would be a final experiment? You can tell that somebody who hasn't really been listening to Flat Earthers long enough to understand. It doesn't matter what you say.
I mean, Slides Park Ames thought that when he did his Lake Pontchartrain stuff that was going to end the Flat Earth debate forever.
Yeah.
I mean, how naive was that too?
Yeah. There's absolutely nothing you could do that would, if you got one flat earther to switch sides, they'll all say, "Oh, they were never a real flat earther,"
Oh, it wasn't Sly; it was Soundly.
Soundly.
That was it.
Yeah.
Soundly. Yeah.
He thought that was
because
going to
I
end
watched
the
his
Flat
live
Earth
stream,
debate forever.
The day he took that series of photographs, because he was 22 stories up or whatever in that hotel.
Yeah.
Because he live streamed the whole thing, didn't he?
Well, even the one he did with the drone that went up and down and showed the curvature, that was awesome. That one.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're still flat earthers because it's like, no, 101 excuses for what you're actually seeing, except the truth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only showing curve away from you. It's not showing curve across.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't have a wide enough field of view. Sorry. The fact that the Earth is actually jolly large.
Yes, it's pretty big. So I don't think they have any concept of how big it is. Even if it was a flat Earth, how big that is. They don't seem to have any real concept.
No.
So
most of those haven't really travelled, have they?
no.
What?
Well, even if they had,
Are
they just seem really ignorant. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah.
Alan?
Are they just planning on visiting one of the coastal stations, or are they actually planning
Well,
to go to Scott Post?
I'm not sure. Because to me, you'd want to go to the actual South Pole. But I'm sort of getting the impression, more and more I hear about it, he's thinking, oh, yes, if I got to the coast, that'd be good enough. And so, like, no. If you wanted to have any chance of doing it, you'd have to go to the South Pole itself, right? Because they'll just say, oh, no, the military won't let them go any further. That's as far as you're allowed to go.
Not the military's got anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, this military that would have to be bigger than all the militaries put together in the world to protect the landmass that they're talking about.
Yeah.
The diameter, Yeah. I have to check it. I wonder if it's as big as the perimeter of all the coastlines in the world put together. The ice wall would have to be that long, or getting close to it. And can you imagine having a military big enough to protect every inch of your coastline? Oh, well, your coastline's pretty easy. Ours is a little bit harder.
Let's just ignore things like the Vendée yacht race where they actually go around Antarctica. That distance travelled is less distance than the equator.
Yes. And the speed.
How does that work on their flat Earth map when Antarctica goes all the way around the edge and there's obviously a greater length than the equator?
And they're turning right and not left, or left and not right, depending which direction they're going around the
because if they were following around the ice wall, which are clearly not, but if they were, it'd all be. But it's just the sheer distance involved, because obviously they have to go down to the Antarctica and then they go round the continent. That going round bit is less than the circumference of the Earth.
And it's that going around, depending where they're coming from, is less than the distance they took to get there. I
don't know where they set off from. It's somewhere up here, isn't it? Somewhere up.
Well, they go. It's just a bit in France or something like that. Somewhere on the.
I know they have to come down the Atlantic and then go all the way around and then come back up. A bit like Drake, when they say, well, Drake's first voyage, he covered all these thousands and thousands of miles, and he didn't, and that's more than going around Antarctica. Yeah, well, he had to get down there first, and then he didn't just go, oh, hey, there's Antarctica. He sort of went, let's go over here, let's go.
You mean Cook?
We'll go back over here, go around here, and then eventually, fuck it, let's go home.
You mean Cook, not Drake? Do you mean Cap? Yeah.
No,
and
Drake said, "Oh, the French."
And Cook went around. Then he went off and.
The distance he travelled.
But then he spent a lot of time going around the southern Pacific, and then he came back, and then he went back around. He didn't spend all this time going around.
If you actually follow the routes, particularly his first expedition, because they did obviously keep very accurate records. He was all over the bloody place. He didn't just go, "Oh, there's Antarctica. Let's go round it. Thank you very much." Oh yeah, that was Australia, but don't worry about that. Okay, we'll go on.
Yeah, that was his first one. Second one was when he went around Antarctica. The first one he just went across, found New Zealand, found Australia, and then went home. Well,
if you drank as much rum as the average sailor, you'd probably be going all over the place too, Barney.
Why is there never any rum? Oh yeah.
I don't know.
You've got to survive that voyage in those conditions somehow, haven't you?
Captain Cook was pretty nasty to his sailors. He made them have oranges and stuff to fight off scurvy.
I don't like oranges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Better than lime. I'd rather have oranges than limes, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. Thinking about it, yeah. If push come to shove, I'd have the oranges. Yeah. I mean, you could have the lime, so you'd have to have lime with something else. Does it go with rum?
If we go with rum.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Coke.
That'll do. Hey. Rum and lime, yeah.
I thought for a sec my Lindsay bingo generator wasn't working. Okay, no, it's definitely working.
Oh, that would be a shame.
Wouldn't it just?
We haven't
No,
had
it would, because we'd have to watch the whole bloody video.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll post it in the Zoom.
Let's get 2 cards going as per the usual.
So if anyone wants to, I've posted in the YouTube chat. Where's I hate this new Zoom. 6 chat. Oh, it doesn't put the chat on the main screen anymore. Got to pull it off.
Well, it never did. You always have to open up chat to one side.
Yeah, no, but it had it as in the icons down the bottom, and it's now they've got more icons. It's pushed off to the side.
I don't like the fact that it now makes my whole Zoom window wider by the width of the chat when you first open it, and sticks it on the right hand side, so it moves the whole window across to the right.
Yeah,
mine don't do that. Right, let's see what. Oh, there's Kundalini. Yeah, good old Kundalini.
I got that. Yeah, I got that.
Analemma. State of Independence. Sorry, State of Inertia. State of Independence. That's a song, isn't it?
Could be.
Blah blah blah. It's a pretty good spread. Just depends what video you choose and what he happens to be talking about, because he could just go off on a totally different tangent.
I can't remember which one I picked, so we could be in for anything. Hang on. Just get rid of our friend here. It is on Flat Earth Course Crash Course. There you go, Flat Earth Crash Course.
Oh,
I'm lucky.
good
If
one,
I
then.
get, if I get spiritual awakening, I also get awakening.
Oh, there you go. You got it in twice, do you? Oh, there you go.
Spiritual Awakening. Not on that one. Let's have a look on that one. Awakening and
I don't have that one.
no, I got one of each. One on one card and one on the other.
I've got umbilical cord, which is a bit. But
Not only have I got both on the one card, they're in adjacent boxes.
Bloody hell. Oh, good afternoon, Clive. Clive's
Hey,
here.
Clive.
Let's
Hey,
take
Clive.
over the quiz later on if there is one then.
Yep, we do have a
Oh, good,
quiz. We do have a quiz. Paul, I believe, has a quiz ready for us.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Okay, let's get on to our friend, Mr. Lindsay.
Oh, look, there's a clip
Hi
playing on the
guys,
board.
this
Zach.
is my
There is. Hang on a sec. I've got to put the appropriate settings on for our friend. First, we've got to put. Sorry, little cough. I'll turn the mic back on this time.
He's got the old Eddie Jordan look going on here, hasn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
It has been sort of starting to do that. Maybe it makes him look younger. I don't know.
site, the Tomb of Illumination. It's all about the physics of our Earth, what you're not taught, what you're not told, in regards to our flat Earth system. So I'll do this video for
Good start.
the newbies. We're just getting into flat Earth and want to understand how it all works. You're not getting it anywhere else. All these other flat Earth sites are just concentrate on one hemisphere. They don't give you the full dual picture. We live in a duality, so you have to understand the two systems.
I'll say dual system. Go on.
It gets pretty complicated, but I'll try and keep it basic so you can all follow along. You can jump on other sites if you want, but if you want to know the ultimate, you stay here and even get on my Patreon page. So let's get on to this. You've got a flat Earth, right? Looking down on it as a plane, looking down from above. If you could see everything, you'd see the southern hemisphere out here, and there'd be a tropical gap. There's the tropics in here, which is dividing the northern hemisphere. Look how small the northern hemisphere is. Because we live inside this magnetic field. It's the flux. You can imagine it as the flux of a ring magnet. Okay? The centre north is the central
Not
half
yet.
here, and everything expands out.
Might be a
So
short one
whenever we
tonight.
travel south, the whole field is expanding, getting bigger and bigger. But we can't tell because it's all relative to the observer. As you're moving, everything's growing with you, and when you come back, it shrinks with you. Because we're all creatures of the light. Everything is of the light. Imagine it as just energy. Nothing's actually physical. We just perceive everything as physical. Okay? So everything expands and returns back. It's a returning field. And what they don't tell you is the northern hemisphere is basically the same as the southern hemisphere. The magnetic field does not go all the way around a ball from here around and go into here. It's a complete lie, because the magnetic field cannot cross this tropical gap.
But it
here.
does.
Okay? The field comes around and goes down into here. Along the ground thou shalt go, and then comes back up through the ground and back out. So get rid of that silly image. You're not going to learn anything from that. That's to keep you dumb. If you like being dumb, you want to leave this world dumb and come back and have to do it all over again, you keep following that dumb shit there, okay? Otherwise, you go to the flat Earth system. The field comes up out of the north, the magnetic field, flows up to the Tropic of Cancer, and then drops straight down into the Earth. Goes along the ground, then returns back up in the south. So the field rises in the north and it rises in the south. But this goes down to the Tropic of Capricorn, this hemisphere, shoots down to the ground, through the ground, then back up this way. Okay? That's the flow of the magnetic field. That's the way it flows. That's the infinity symbol. That's the S, or 8 figure, okay? Now, so that's the main magnetic field of Earth, but we live in an electromagnetic realm, so you have to bring the electrical into it, which is the sun. So what creates the sun? Well, in physics, we have what we call as capacitor plates. Okay? And these are the metaphysical capacitor plates in our earthly system. The Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer in here. And between these two fields creates electromagnetic. We have a south pole and a north pole, so south and a north pole here. So you like, so you know, once you split a magnet, it's pretty hard to split a magnet, isn't it? Because you break a magnet down, it'll just have its own north and south pole here, north and south pole here. But you've got to realise in this system, it's just split enough to keep the monopoles. It's all about this gap. Okay? And this is where the magic is in this tropical gap. And due to it's all about the hydrogen molecule rising up through this gap, being ionized, and then being shredded, and then they become like isotopes in physics, and recombine, which then, this is the Milky Way. It feeds over the centre Arctic, feeding our actual sun, which is pure plasma you cannot see. Okay? This is electromagnetic now. Magnetism, north and south poles have created an electromagnetic
he said
field.
2 systems.
While off the Earth, this magnetic field, this is female, comes up this way. That's the other end of the Milky Way. And bingo lights up the plasma, plasma sun.
Lindsay said bingo.
Which is on the horizon of the black hole.
Does that count? Come on.
We have had a count in the past.
He said bingo. He definitely said bingo. It came up in the subtitles.
We have had him say it. I've got to admit, yes, we have called it on it in the past. So, how are we going? Because if I had Egyptians, we'd be finished. If you'd said Egyptians,
If I had state of inertia with these things.
yeah.
Yeah, dual system. He said duality, but he never actually said dual.
Well,
system.
yeah, he said duality. Then he said we had systems, and then he said 2 systems, and I said, come on, call them dual systems.
But it's not. But dual system would have done it for me.
Yeah, no.
I was getting very close on the other card as well. I've got several options.
I got a nice line of flux, northern hemisphere system and southern hemisphere, and I just need state of inertia to finish the line off.
Yeah.
System, Milky Way, tropical gap, and field.
We're getting quite a lot on that one.
He said tropical. Oh, that's what you've got on it.
Yeah. That's what he had. Yeah.
That's what I'd got, and I needed dual system to finish it off. And if it said black hole, that would have got me so close to several others as well.
That's where I was sitting on. Egyptians would have done it, but he never said that one.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to say Egyptians either, was he? The way he was going.
Nah, not the direction. You never know, though, because I never thought he'd say Kundalini. But anyway, you proved that wrong.
Anyway, he said bingo. That's good enough for me.
Good enough, yes. We'll finish it off. Well, on that, since we've had that short version of our friend, I believe Mr. Everett did one on him. Hang on a sec.
He did, yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet, so I think this is it. I'll just check.
Don't know whether I've seen that one. I've lost track.
Hang on a sec. Yes, here we go.
People need to understand that Earth's southern magnetic field is like a mirror of the central northern field.
Wrong way. Go back. Sorry. I want to go back to normal. Try again. Go from there.
People need to understand that Earth's southern magnetic field is like a mirror effect to the central northern field in the flat Earth system. We're inside a toroidal field, and the northern central vortex of creation is above the Arctic.
This doesn't look like Lindsay.
And welcome to Spot the Loony, where once again we invite you to come with us all over the world to meet all kinds of people in all kinds of places and ask you to spot the loony.
As it turns, it projects an image out to the south.
Yep.
But it's parabolically projected, but due to the southern hemisphere curving magnetic field, it creates the northern image inside out and back to front.
Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown, engines on.
Or flipped upside down and sideways and inside out. It's like inverted.
Take your protein pills and put your helmet on.
Stop it, no!
So you get the sun offset in the northern hemisphere because it rides around the horizon of the black hole, which science doesn't tell you, is going to create the opposite
That's
effect.
the reason
in
why
the
it doesn't
southern
tell you
field.
that.
This is why their spinning ball theory has the axis points offset.
Can we go home now? No, actually, we like to keep him here overnight for observation just to be safe.
Oh, sure, anything. Can you believe it? There's nothing wrong with me.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
In our flat Earth model, the sun is offset from the centre geographical pole. The centre of the geographical pole is dead centre of the black hole, the dead centre of a vortex, the centralised vortex locked in the North Pole.
Sheldon, we have to go.
Why?
Well, for one thing, we're late for Leonard's birthday party, and for another, I told him to call security.
Good luck.
The sun moves around on its horizon. So that would be the strongest magnetic point. So you have geographical centre in the black hole, but the sun being offset would be the strong magnetic point. This will be the magnetic point offset from the geographical point.
Well, we really should be heading out. Jerry hates to miss the coming attractions.
Yeah, and because of the time.
Time is what he's indicating there. Anyway, onward and upward.
You don't feel any movement of the earth, and you don't feel any wobble, because it's all rubbish.
Tell me, sir, have you confused your cat recently?
Well,
No. Yes. Well, I think I can definitely say that your cat badly needs to be confused.
What? What?
Confused. To shake it out of its state of complacency.
It's because the sun in the centre north is offset from the black hole centre.
I'm not personally qualified to confuse cats, but I can recommend an extremely good service. Here is their card.
Oh, Confuse a Cat Limited.
Cat Limited.
Oh.
In the flat earth model, it describes it quite well.
Confuse the cat.
So there's an offset to start with between the central geographic pole, which is the black centre, and the magnetic field of the sun.
Oh, I can't believe it. Neither can I. It's just like the old days. He's cured. Oh, thank you, General.
It's all in a day's work for Confuse a Cat.
Do like the old Python.
I don't know if you noticed the other names.
I have a bug problem.
I think the next one was Battle of Badger from memory, but I'd have to check the script books.
I know there's a whole Stunner Stoat. Things like that.
There's a whole string of them.
Yes. Well, everybody else agreed with that Bingo was his name, so we're safe.
Bingo was his name, eh?
As in, yes, Bingo was acceptable for us to end.
Lindsay calling Bingo on himself. Yes.
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 I agree. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, I've got one here under Dubay. What did Dubay done in the last 3 weeks?
What's he ever done in his life?
Yeah, no. But...
I see Greater Sapien hit his halfway point on his Dubay debunked.
All right, yeah. Yes. Well, I think he'd be better off grouping them together. I think he could speed up by, these 50 are the same thing.
Well, I mean, Professor Dave did the whole 201 episode. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I can't remember what this video is about, so you can suffer with me. It's only 5 minutes, so
Changed the very
Start again.
Similar to how heliocentric pseudoscientists have changed the very definition of the word level to mean curved.
No, we haven't. And we haven't changed horizontal to mean bodies shown either. But anyway, okay.
They have also done the same thing with the words up and down. Everyone intuitively knows and can readily demonstrate which way is up and which is down, just by
It's sweet, and we'd say the same thing.
by pointing one finger to the sky and one to the ground. But globe defenders take umbrage with this simple meaning and
No, we
insist
don't.
otherwise. They claim the sky is not always up. On their model, the sky is all around their globe. So there's always sky beside you,
which is
and
always up.
sky below you.
Which is always up.
Similarly, on their model, the stars aren't all above us. Instead, stars are all
Yes,
around
they
us,
are.
with just as many
they are.
stars beside or below us as there are above. Merriam-Webster defines up as being toward a higher position or place, but then further specifies, especially away from the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Likewise,
Yeah.
down is defined as toward or in a lower physical position, i.e., especially toward the center of the earth.
Yeah.
These caveats
Yeah.
about being toward or away from the center of the earth are necessary additions for life on a globe.
Yep.
The masses have been
Agree
taught
with that.
and now believe that up and down are simply subjective terms. So what is up for one person can be down for another.
No.
What is up for someone at the North Pole
No.
is down for someone else at the South Pole. And what is
No.
down for a third party at the equator isn't up or down, but perpendicular sideways for the people at the poles. This is why Australia has long been dubbed the land down under, because the masses are taught and now believe that places like Australia on the southern hemisphere of their globe Earth are physically upside down with respect to places like Europe in the northern hemisphere. That sentence will trigger knee-jerk rejection, however, because they have also been taught and now believe that since everything is subjective, that upside down doesn't exist. On the globe, everything
What
and
an
everyone
idiot.
is always
Yes,
right
that's
side
right.
up, and they won't
No
hear
great
otherwise.
moron, really, isn't he?
Even
Yeah,
when you
he
make it
is,
clear that you are speaking in relative terms of two separate perspectives with relation to each other, they rarely relent. The fact remains, though, if you believe someone at the North Pole of a globe Earth is standing right side up, and another person at the South Pole of a globe Earth is also standing right side up, that means
Yeah.
that relative to each other, one of them is standing upside down.
No.
That
No.
means that relative
Well,
to the
relative
northern
to-
hemisphere,
moron.
it rains
Yeah.
upside down in the south. And relative to the southern hemisphere, planes fly
It's just
upside
wordplay,
down
but it's
in
not
the
even
north.
correct.
This is so conceptually absurd that globe believers
It's not.
refuse to address the contradictions, and instead attempt to gloss them over with their mantra of upside down doesn't exist on a globe. In reality, however, everything
Gee,
on their
loves making
tilting,
straw
wobbling,
men.
spinning space
Does,
ball
doesn't
Earth
he?
is
Yeah.
upside down. And the only place everything could ever be right side up is on a level, stationary plane Earth, where the sky and stars are always over your head, and the ground is always under your feet. Imagine a man digging a hole straight down from the North Pole on a globe Earth. Imagine this man is immortal, immune to heat, and can dig indefinitely through anything. As the man continues to dig downwards for hundreds and then a few thousand miles, eventually he reaches the geometric center point of the globe. Now at this point, if the man continues to dig even a foot farther in the same direction of his same hole, globe apologists claim this man will now be digging upwards.
Globe apology.
No,
Then, if
yeah,
he continues to
technically.
dig the same direction of his same hole for 3,958 more miles, they claim he will pop out feet first at the South Pole. If there was already another man standing at the South Pole when he popped out, this means the two men would be upside down relative to one another.
No.
From their own perspectives, they would both always feel right side up.
Yes.
But when the man digging the hole somehow came out feet first at the South Pole, it would be revealed that they are and were always upside down.
Hey, I'm just trying to get... So he's trying to suggest somehow that person is still digging upwards once they've got past the centre of the earth. Like still digging at their feet once they get past the centre of the earth. But they wouldn't be. They'd have to be digging above their head. And once they got far enough away from the centre, of course, because the centre is going to be...
Yeah. And not only that, but they'd have to have some sort of magic platform to stand on, wouldn't they?
Yes. Yeah.
With respect to one another. The only place up and down can have any objective meaning is on the geocentric flat Earth model.
No.
Our Earth plane of dense matter is aptly likened to the basement of the universe, where the thick foundation becomes increasingly dense downwards for at least 8 miles, which is the farthest we have ever drilled. Above us, the sky is filled with an opposing density gradient of progressively lighter and lighter gases continuing upwards for 20 plus...
No, the gases are the same weight. There's less of it, maybe, but...
miles, which is the farthest
lighter.
Balloons can reach before popping. On our Earth plane, down is the direction of density, and up is the direction of lightness. The ground will always be down, whereas the sky and luminaries will always be up, circling over and around us, unlike in the globe model, where the sky and luminaries are allegedly all around us. In reality, though, you have never and will never see sky or luminaries below you. Rain always falls down from the same direction above, and people standing in Antarctica are not upside down relative to those at the North Pole.
What? You acknowledge Antarctica exists now?
I mean, this guy hasn't passed geometry in the 3rd grade.
No.
No.
We can't comprehend the concept because, you know, oh yeah, they'd be digging down, they'd still be digging at their feet. No. And also they misunderstand gravity as well, and that gravity is a direction. No, it's the mass. So once you dig deeper into the Earth, it's a matter of the sum of the masses as to what's gravity. Whereas, yeah. Well, not surprising. Well, anyway, that was what he said. So, what else do I have in my list? I've got FU World, I've got a Leo, I've got a Brian. Brian will be talking about GPS, I bet.
Well, he won't be talking about GPS, but he thinks he's talking about GPS, but he actually isn't.
Okay, this video is going to be the crayon version of GPS for ballers because they're not understanding, right? They're not getting the simple concepts I've tried to, you know, really show in spades in my past couple of videos. I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to make this as short as I can, right?
18 minutes. We might not watch it all.
This is what
that'll be about an hour.
Here is the globe. Here is 4 satellites. These 4 satellites, right, using the distance between them and a receiver on the surface of their globe, right? They use that as a radius and create a sphere. This is what the claim, right?
I thought Blue
What
did a
this
really good
does
job of
is it
taking
creates,
this apart.
right?
Yeah, well, I was going to play his in a little while.
Well,
So,
I think this is the response to Blue's video. I think.
Yeah. So, maybe I should play the other one. Paul, do you want to do your, since Blues one, I can't remember how long Blues one's go for, I think. Do you want to do your quiz shortly?
Sure.
Sure.
Don't call him
how about-
Shorty.
Don't call him Shorty. But just before we do, I've got Rachie. What did Rachie do? How about I put Rachie up and then...
And she's done lots of sort of little short videos recently, hasn't she?
Yeah.
See, Flatzoid doesn't understand.
So, and I'll
Oh
find
yeah,
the
she's
other.
having a bit of a thing with Flatzoid.
Oh, she's always had a thing with Flatzoid.
Yeah.
What
Is everybody?
Well, yeah.
So, obviously, he's got this cherry pick quote where it's this lady talking about, you know, gravity not having a direct effect on the direction of flow. This actually means the particles within. So, for
Yeah.
example, with this sentence, it says, unlike solids, which exert a downward pressure on surfaces due to their weight, liquids and gases exert pressure equally in all directions. The pressure in a liquid is caused by the movement of the particles and the force they exert on the walls of the container. Because the particles have equal movement in all directions, the pressure is exerted equally in all directions. Now he will probably try and cherry pick this, but if we look, it's talking about the pressure in a liquid. Okay? Gases are not liquids, this is why we have solids, liquids and gases. So liquids are not gases. And yet it says the pressure in a liquid is caused by the movement of the particles and the force they exert on the walls of the container. Because the particles have equal movement in all directions, the pressure is exerted equally in all directions. And this is talking about a liquid again, not a gas. It's talking about a liquid. The pressure in a liquid clearly says. And that the particles have equal movement in all directions. So, is your liquid, for example water, in your cup, going up flatsoid, like you think gas would do? No, you just don't understand what you read and you don't understand what you hear. This is your problem. Now hopefully you will understand it, and now you can correct yourself. So yes, just because you misunderstand something doesn't mean that everyone else in physics and all the experts are wrong and you're right. You just misunderstand literally everything, unfortunately.
I don't know. I think she understands, but I don't think she explained it very well.
No, there was a little bit wrong in there.
Yeah. But
I see what she's trying to do, though. She's trying to say, well, you know, like the pressure in liquid is clearly distributed evenly throughout the liquid. So why wouldn't it be in a gas as well?
Yeah. And yes, I think he's. Yeah, I don't think she explained it very well. I don't think it's not a gotcha moment for.
No.
But at least it seems like she has a better understanding of what, you know, why the water stays in the cup.
At least she's trying, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. Talk about, we can try and do Paul's quiz. So
you have to give me sharing permissions first.
I do, but Farmers has run away. You scared him off with your quiz, Paul. I don't know.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I was thinking about going and putting the kettle on again, but
well,
I wanted Farmers come back. I didn't want 50% of the people here to run away.
That's right. That makes it hard if you're not there. Whoa! Stuff happening.
No, that's just wrong in the middle.
What's that?
That's just wrong in the middle.
Oh dear.
Okay. I can't
All
tell.
right, you're-
Is Farmers back? No, he's not back.
He's not back yet. We've killed him, haven't we?
Come on, Farmers. Where are you?
Ah, well.
Okay, let's start. We'll start.
Shall we proceed? Righto.
We'll start.
Okay. We will start. Let me. Oops, I know what answer I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. In 1983, a newspaper in Durand, Michigan, warned that this compound had been found in pipes and could be fatal if inhaled in large doses.
Ooh,
Would
1983.
that be the hydrogen monoxide by any chance?
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh.
Operation Popeye was an attempt to use this compound in order to gain an advantage for US forces in the Vietnam War.
Well, it's not napalm.
The
I
first
still think it's
description.
hydrogen monoxide.
Yeah.
The first description of the structure of this compound was made in 1781, while William Nicholson demonstrated that this experimentally in 1800. Yeah, you've all got it right. We're starting
Yes.
with everyone. See, and you were thinking that this quiz was hard and scared of it. until 2019, this compound's triple point was used to define the Kelvin. This compound was criticised by Nathan Zonner due to its contribution to the greenhouse effect and likelihood to cause burns. Name this compound, which 84% of a science class voted to ban when it was described as dihydrogen monoxide. It is indeed water.
Although I think Irish Stew's answer of Foster's Lager is probably also very correct.
Yeah, probably. It should be banned as well.
So I said, please don't swear in my chat and use that F word.
Yeah. All right. Question 2. Naturally occurring forms of this material can be found in environments subject to high heat, such as the aftermath of volcanic eruptions or lightning strikes.
Ozone.
No, not ozone.
Crystals. Glass.
Manufacturing an unstable form of this material can cause weeping and later crizzling, which can be induced by excess moisture.
Glass.
Timbo, you're right on the ball.
Yeah.
It is indeed glass.
Dora got glass too. Then I look at the chat, so I don't know who got it first. Sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll give it to Dora.
Yeah. But
metal cames can be used to hold this material in place, and while it is conventionally colourless, metals can be used to introduce colour to this material during the manufacturing process, such as copper for green and gold for red. Yeah.
I want to know if Dora got it from that rom-com, which I forget the name of. It's a rom-com where the guy goes off and he makes glass sculptures out of lightning. On the sand here. Go on, keep going.
Yeah. Transparent starch-based noodles named for this material are common in Asian cuisine, and sugar can be used to create a safer alternative to this material in prop making.
Yeah, sugar glass.
Yeah. Name this material whose older examples have thickened bottom sections, leading to urban myths that it is actually a liquid. Which is false.
I believed that one for a while because I was told, that they showed evidence that it was that it acted like a liquid, but then I was just shown it was just faults in the manufacture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way they made it in those days, yeah.
Yeah.
The answer is, of course, glass. See? 2 questions that haven't been so hard.
I answered on the first
yeah. All right. Question 3. In 1963, 2 LAPD officers were kidnapped to a field where this plant was grown. What plant?
This rings a bell, but I can't remember why.
Hemp?
Hemp? Yeah. That would have been my first choice.
Not hemp, no. This plant likely originates from Asia, and an architectural feature named for it is prominent in Mughal architecture. Not the devil's lettuce, no. It is principally composed of water with few nutrients and contains a chemical which affects the lacrimal system. The presence of this chemical can be reduced using soil with lower sulfur content. Not
onions.
Tea. What did you say, Alan?
Onions.
Onions is indeed the correct answer.
Make your eyes water.
Well done, yes. In 1955, 2 traders committed widespread rice manipulation using futures contracts for these vegetables, driving many farmers into bankruptcy. This led to an act specifically banning the trading of these vegetables futures. The onion futures, yeah. Glass bottles named for these alliums share their name with both a Beatles song and, for 10 points, a 2022 Rian Johnson film, which saw Daniel Craig reprise his role as Detective Bennett Blanc.
That is out Glass Onion.
It is.
Glass Onion, yeah.
Yeah, the onion system.
Yeah, the YouTube, the kid. Been told it's
the
an
first
apple.
film was quite good, but that Glass Onion sequel is just it's fucking awful. It really is.
Well, you didn't like the. Oh, should I give away the end? No, that'd be a spoiler. No, I can't do that.
I do. How do you spoil a film like that? I already did.
Yeah. No.
All right.
Yeah. Go on.
Let's see if you can get this one then. This practice can be seen in many animals in nature, though the reasons for doing so can vary greatly between species.
Monogamy.
No. In animals, this practice can be divided into full and partial forms and may be affected by factors such as brood size, the availability of a mate, and environmental stresses.
I have an idea. What's it called? Keep going.
Okay. Demeter is deceived into committing this action by Tantalus, as is the father in the grim fairy tale, The Juniper Tree.
A miracle!
No.
He's brought juniper berries.
It's a changing gender? No.
Nope. It's not changing gender.
No. Okay.
Not childcare. This action is depicted in what is arguably the most notable of the Black paintings. That painting depicts the Greek myth of Kronos, taking this preemptive action to thwart a prophecy. Infanticide is getting close, but that's not really the answer.
No.
In 1729, Jonathan Swift made a modest proposal that suggested impoverished Irish citizens sell their children for this purpose, to prevent them from being a burden on society.
The meaning of life, isn't it? It's medical experiments.
Let's leave the Bishop of Bath and Wells out of it.
That one's got a correct answer. In the German fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, a poor woodcutter's children are sent out into the woods where they encounter a witch who attempts to perform this action.
Cannibalism on the young.
Baby eating, yeah.
Yeah. Dora's right. It is eating children.
Yes.
Yes, the Bishop of Bath and Wales. Yeah.
Yeah. Well done, Dora. Okay, question 5. After the protagonist starts a question with, "Now we can't all be geniuses," the villain of this film enigmatically says, "East, west, just points on the compass, just as stupid as the other."
I will be geniuses.
Which film?
Dr. No?
The protagonist of this film beats the heck out of a tarantula, which may have been sent to kill him.
Dr. No?
Dr. No. Dr. No is correct, Jimbo. What are you complaining about this quiz being hard?
I don't know. I was just thinking, I'm sure I've heard that one before. Go on.
A dragon that attacks two characters in this film turns out to be a machine that spits fire and kills Squirrel. Yeah. The antagonist of this film, produced by Albert Broccoli, that should have given it away too, attempts to interfere with Project Mercury and has 2 metal hands. That character dies after being thrown into a pool of radioactive liquid, after which the protagonist rescues his love interest, Honey Rider. Identify this film in the James Bond franchise named for its villain.
Yes.
It was indeed
Dr. No.
Oh, good old Ursula Andress coming out of the sea. Yeah.
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 And they parodied that with Daniel Craig well, not parodied, but him coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't as spectacular though.
No, it wasn't.
Maybe for the women, but
didn't have the same effect on half the audience. No.
No. Question 6. As originally observed, very low frequency circularly polarized signals called whistlers are produced by this phenomenon under certain conditions.
Ugh. Circular polarized signals. No, I don't know what that is. That one's not ringing a bell so far.
Okay. Schumann resonances are excited by these phenomena, which are initiated by either dart or stepped leaders.
I'm hoping Clive gets this one. Come on, Clive. I'm not getting it.
Not quasars, no. The dramatic increase in the frequency of this phenomenon is used to predict microbursts.
Doppler?
Particular types of this phenomena include blue jets and sprites.
Lightning.
Lightning is it? Yes,
oh, yeah,
absolutely. It is lightning.
Clive got it.
Oh, did he?
Well, no, someone says Clive got it. Tropical gap resonances.
Yeah, right. The hypothesis that this phenomenon led to the first organic compounds on Earth was tested in the Miller-Urey experiment. Yeah. The usual ball type of this phenomena is frequently mistaken for UFO activity.
Oh, yes, ball.
Yeah, well, I got ball from ball one, yeah.
Named as electrical phenomena of the atmosphere, it is indeed a lightning.
Thunderbolt and lightning. Very, very frightening.
Yeah. All right, question 7. I'm expecting this one to go pretty quickly. This quantity is proportional to the second, third, or fifth power of the ratio between temperature and Debye temperature, according to the Bloch-Gruneisen.
Oh, I was talking about that the other day. Not.
Were you?
No.
Crops up all the time, doesn't
it? Yeah. Casual conversation,
Yeah. This material property is proportional to the logarithm of the inverse temperature in systems with magnetic impurities due to the Kondo effect.
I know. Why don't we give it to Kondo?
No. I do mean Condor Man, but I don't think it's the same thing.
God, I remember Condor Man. Wish I didn't.
To first order, the characteristic depth of the skin effect is equal to the square root of twice this quantity over frequency times permeability.
No. Tea
Not
brewing.
tea brewing. The electric field in a material is equal to this quantity times current density, and that relationship is the microscopic form of Ohm's law.
Voltage, says Dora.
Not voltage, no. Commonly represented as ρ, name this intrinsic property of a material the inverse of conductivity.
Resistance.
Yeah.
Resistance is useless. You know that.
Resistance is futile.
Oh, okay, yeah, futile.
Yes, futile.
Resistance is futile.
There you go. Nerd pedantic alert. It's got it. It's
resistivity.
Yeah.
Resistivity.
Yes. That's the one.
Ah.
Electrical resistivity. All right, question 8. Cats and nonsense pictures were used in a study by James Haxby about a distributed coding model of this process. What process?
Cats.
Research by Woody Bledsoe and others pioneered computer analysis related to this process. Morris
Something to do with
Moscovich
the brain would be, I guess.
described a patient CK who, after suffering a car accident, had normal abilities at this facility but severe impairment of a related faculty.
Something to do with the brain. Ish.
You're close, Clive, but not quite right. However, Nerd Pedantic Alert got it right.
Oh, face recognition. Oh, there you go.
Face recognition is the correct one, yeah. Justine Sargent discovered that this faculty takes place within a namesake area located within the fusiform gyrus. Fusiform gyrus. Now, that sounds like something Lindsay would say.
It does, doesn't it? Bingo!
Yeah. This faculty can make errors in detecting anomalies when represented with upside-down stimuli during the Thatcher effect. This cognitive ability is impaired in individuals who suffer from prosopagnosia.
Yeah, prosopagnosia. Yeah, I've heard of that one. Face blindness.
Yeah. Name this cognitive faculty, which involves perceiving and processing features like lip size and noses. It is face recognition. Alrighty. One for the maths people. Upper and lower forms of this operation are named for Dini-Darboux theorem, states that for a fraction f, this operation of f maps open intervals to open intervals.
Okay. I didn't use that in acceleration of vehicles the other day. Should have.
The integral of a form over the boundary of a manifold is equal to the integral of the exterior type of this operation of the function over the whole manifold, according to Stokes' theorem.
I like Dora's answer. Whatever Clive writes.
Clive says continuity.
No, not continuity. One theorem states that if a function evaluated at 2 points is equal, then this operation must equal 0 at some point between them. This operation, when applied to the composition of multiple functions, can be computed using the chain rule. I'll pay it to Nerd Pedantic Alert, followed by Clive. It's differentiation is the correct answer. Name this operation, which in the single variable case gives the slope of the tangent to a function.
Oh, that's differentiation. Yeah.
Differentiation, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and your last question. The magnetic form of this effect occurs with circularly polarized photons and is used to measure magnetic moments in ferromagnetic materials.
Don't know yet.
Crude measurements of the fine structure constant can be made via this effect, since a key length in this process is related to the classical electron radius by a factor of alpha. The finite amount of energy transferred by this process leads to its namesake edge in spectroscopy.
No
The kind that needs a container, eh?
Edge.
Not the Zeeman effect, not pinch harmonics, no. A so-called inverse form of this process distorts the CMB, cosmic microwave background, and is named for Sunyaev and Zeldovich. The differential cross-section of this phenomena is given by the Klein-Nishina formula.
Yeah, well.
I thought I'd put a really hard one in for the last one, seeing the first few were really easy.
Why not?
Yeah.
Container evaluation. The quantity H over sub E times C is the wavelength associated with this effect. Name this inelastic scattering of a photon off an electron, named for a British physicist.
I'm going to take a wild Google guess and say Compton.
Compton is the physicist, but
Yeah.
what's the effect?
Compton scattering in that case?
Compton scattering is the one, Timbo.
Yeah.
Your Google foo is powerful.
I think I liked it better when the answer was the hydrogen monoxide.
Yeah. Yeah. It is indeed Compton scattering. I think Nerd Pedantic Alert got it out there. Well done.
Yes.
And that was your quiz for today.
Very much.
Well, thanks for that. That was very good. Appreciate it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well-
missed a couple of really nice easy ones at the start there, Palmers.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to go make a cup of tea. I was thirsty.
Oh dear. Yes. I think we got the first couple of first two questions on the first clue, so which is unusual. Now, I'm just quickly finding before we listen to Blues. What's he? I was going to try and find his what he was responding to. I thought I had it, but I think that one that I was playing from Brian is too early. Too late. I think that was the later one. Where's his other one? I think it was up here. Where are you? Oh, I did find it. Where are you? I think it's this one. GPS does not work on a globe. End of story. Sounds like something you'd say, doesn't it?
Distance from this point in Austin.
Oh dear, 38 minutes.
You might be better off watching Blue.
Maybe,
Yeah, I think so.
I think we might just watch Blue. Now that I've seen it, but just looking at.
Possible. Now I've shown how how they show it.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's very articulate. Okay, we might put Blues on. Yeah, but...
I'm sure we can let Paul off mixing up Compton being British and against American.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Paul was wrong, apparently. Oh, there you go. I'm sure he travelled to. I'm sure he got his ideas from Britain.
Oh yeah.
Ever been put out?
Yeah. Okay. The Blues one's about 21 minutes, so we'll buckle into this one.
Time to go make a cup of tea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except for Farmers, who's already done it, so he has to stay.
I'll cover for you, Alan.
And I might even get a slice of banana cake.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't do that. Hang on.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Blue Marble Science. I've got the absolute worst interpretation of GPS that has ever been put out. There is literally nothing right about this. Nothing. Of course, it's brought to you by our old friend Brian's Logic. Now, when we said, how stupid can you be, Brian didn't realize that was a question. He thought it was a challenge. So take it away, Brian.
So I'm sorry to the people who follow the globe. I'm sorry that this video is going to hurt you. And it is going to hurt you. You're not going to like this video. You're going to hate me. But all I'm doing is I'm just a messenger. I'm showing you. You know, you're wrong. There's no way out. You're wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
That's it. There's no if, buts, maybes. There's no Einstein this. There's no any of the rest of it. You're wrong. You don't understand this. And this is only one section of my presentation. I'm sorry. Doesn't work on the globe.
Well, somebody's wrong, Brian. What do you want to bet it's you?
Well, how are you doing? Okay, I'm going to try and make this video as quick as possible because I don't want to spend too long on it.
Yeah, well, it turns out quick is 36 minutes. Brian, we can put satellites in low Earth orbit in less than half that amount of time.
You might hear a bit of background noise. My housemate is up and I have some cats moving around here as well. Okay, this video is going to be about how satellite navigation cannot work on a globe. Okay, it's not about how it does work, right, over a flat plane. That's a different video. I have detailed that in a presentation I did on this subject sometime last year and many years ago as well. I somewhat detailed it. But this is more about how it doesn't work and how it can't work on a globe because of what the receiver must do, right? And so I'm going to, rather than going through the whole presentation I did or parts of the whole presentation I did last year, I'm just going to focus on this part because this is equally as important as how the satellite navigation or GPS, so let's call it, actually does work, right? Not claiming there is things flying around in the sky or there isn't. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Where the signal is coming from doesn't matter to me. It's about how it's claimed to work, and I'm going to show you how it can't work on a globe Earth. Okay? Pay attention to this because we'll be coming back to this at the end. First of all, I'm just going to show some slides. So, right, this is the sub-satellite point here, right?
Brian, every satellite is constantly over some point on the Earth. That point is what you're referring to as a sub-satellite point, but that point is of absolutely no interest to us. It's not used by GPS to find the position of the GPS receiver. You're trying to force this to be triangulation when it is not. GPS uses trilateration. We have no interest in knowing what point on Earth the satellite is above. What we're trying to determine is what point on Earth the GPS receiver is above. So this stuff about the sub-satellite point is simply a straw man, Brian. That's all it is.
Here is an angle to the satellite, which is here, from one position on what would be they're trying to claim is a globe Earth, and on a second position, which what they're trying to claim is a globe Earth, right?
You talked about a GPS sub-satellite point, and while we can't say that doesn't exist, obviously it does for any satellite, but it's not used. Nothing like that is ever used, and you can't find a single reference in any piece of literature ever published on GPS. This is just something you've made up, Brian. Let's get rid of that. Next, you talk about this angle alpha you show up here. You think somehow or the other the GPS satellite knows where your receiver is, so that it can come up with that angle. Obviously, that is not true. The satellite has no idea where you are. More than that, your GPS receiver doesn't know where it is. So it has no idea where to look for the satellite. Now, you've tried to say that because it's got a magnetic compass in it, it could somehow or the other find an azimuth. Even if it could do that, you can't find the elevation angle. There's nothing in your GPS cell phone that tells it what the altitude angle of the satellite is, Brian. That's another straw man. Then you talk about the arc distance across the surface of the Earth to the sub-satellite point, which we've already said is a straw man. You know, you're just building an army of these little guys, aren't you? So let's talk about how GPS actually works. And it's a process that's usually referred to as trilateration. And it works like this. Let's say this blue thing here is a football field, and let's put a football down on it. Some point like that. Now, we know the exact location of all four corners of the field, but we don't know where the ball is. If we can measure the distance from one corner to the ball, then what we know is the ball is somewhere on a circle that is that radius. So most of that circle is not even on the field, but a big chunk of it would be. So we still don't know where the ball is. Now we add a second circle, a second measurement to another corner. Now we've got two intersecting circles. They're intersecting in two locations. One point will be not on the field. The other point is at the location of the ball. If we're clever enough, we figure out which intersection isn't on the field, and we only need these two circles. But if we want to be sure about it, we measure a third corner. Now we've got 3 points and distances to those 3 points, and that can only describe one unique position on the field. This is trilateration. That's how GPS works. I really should refer to GPS as multilateration because we're using more than 3 satellites. We're using at least 4 of them. But let's replace the ball on the football field with a GPS receiver, and let's replace the corners of the field with 4 GPS satellites. Now, every one of those satellites is transmitting information. And the information it's transmitting is where it is and what time it's at that position. The receiver, on the other hand, is listening to all 4 of those satellites. And by knowing what time it receives the signal from the satellite, compared to when the satellite said it sent the information, it knows the time of flight. In other words, the time it took the radio signal to go from the satellite to the receiver. Electromagnetic waves basically travel at the speed of light. So simply multiplying the time of flight by the speed of light will give us the distance to the satellite. There are some corrections that we won't even get into. But that's the basics of it, Brian. Just exactly like the ball on the football field. The 4th satellite is actually being used to improve the accuracy of the GPS clock in the receiver. So let's see what that looks like spherically. With one GPS satellite, it is emitting electromagnetic radiation, radio waves in other words, in an expanding sphere. When we add a second GPS satellite, those 2 expanding spheres of electromagnetic radiation are going to intersect at a circle. When we add a third sphere of expanding radiation, you then get 2 intersecting points. And when we add the 4th satellite, you get 1 unique point, and that point is very accurate. So that is how the system actually works. It is not triangulation. That's what you're trying to force it to be, Brian, and it is not. It doesn't work that way. There is no use made of any subsatellite point. We don't try to measure any distance across the surface of the Earth from the subsatellite point to the receiver. None of that nonsense.
Because no matter what way to work it, even if you take a straight line across from here, straight over to here, that straight line will not match the distance between here and here. And that's where the receiver will be. This is where the sub-satellite point will be. What's important to remember for this video is I'm detailing what would happen, right, from a cold start with a receiver. So if I'm using my receiver in the Netherlands and I turn it off and I turn it back on again in Texas, right, The receiver doesn't know where it is. It has to find where it is, which means it has to connect to 4 or more sources, right? Let's call them satellites because that's what they call them here for the globe, right? Whatever they are. Doesn't matter whether they're, because I've shown in the past when I showed how it actually works, that the source of the signal doesn't matter where it comes from, whether it comes from an airplane, a ship, a ground station, a balloon. It doesn't matter where it comes from, right? So flying in the sky means nothing. The point is that how it's claimed to work and how it actually works. But I'm going to show here how if you start from a cold start position with a receiver, how it can't work on a globe.
Where's Wally did a video some time ago where he explained all of this to you, Brian. He explained exactly how a GPS receiver can find its position. I'm going to play a little bit of that video for you, and a link to it will be in the description.
Now, Brian asked me many times to explain how a GPS works, but he claimed not to see it, or for whatever reason, he did not want to look. Now, I would love to explain this, and bear with me, this is actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. The Global Positioning System, or GPS, is a constellation of satellites. We all know that. And it's used to approximate the location of the receiver on Earth. The GPS receiver uses 4 satellites that are in the review of the receiver to resolve the equations for the XYZ coordinates of the receiver and the value d, which is the difference in time between the receiver's clock and the satellite's clock. The difference in time is important because the location is approximated using the travel time of the signal from the satellite to the receiver, and this happens in very much less than a second. The equations that are solved to approximate the receiver's location using GPS are these, where x, y, and z are the Cartesian coordinates of the receiver, a, b, c are the Cartesian coordinates of the 4 satellites respectively, and d is the difference in the time between the receiver and each satellite's clock, is the travel time for the signal from the satellite to the receiver. Okay, so that all looks rather scary to me initially. 4 equations to solve to get XYZ coordinates and the time of the receiver. But if you look carefully, you'll notice that all 4 equations for each satellite in view, and there's 1 for each satellite. That's the minimum required to get a good 3D fix. So we can just look at one and try to understand what's going on, and the others are just simply rinse and repeat. So the first 3 terms is just a little bit of Pythagoras in 3D. Difference in each of the 3 dimensions squared, added, and square rooted. How simple is that? The second part is the known distance away from the satellite, and that is simply multiplying the speed of light by the time taken. When the 2 distances are very close to being the same, then the receiver is said to have a fix. But wait, Wally, I hear Brian say, the receiver don't know X, Y, or Z or nothing to nowhere. And I say to Brian, correct. So how does the receiver find the X, Y, and Z positions of where it's at? It's super easy. It guesses. Yep, you heard me, it just guesses. Okay, let me give you a demo. Now, I like to play a little game called Where Taken. It gives you a touristy photo and you have to say which country it was taken in. So my strategy is to guess. Now, I might have a clue or I might not. And as Brian says a lot, it doesn't matter. So today I started with Australia and, well, 13,595 kilometres away. Well, that's almost half a world away. So I guess again, somewhere on the other side of the globe, and, well, Italy sounds nice, and it's 880 kilometres away. Ah, much better, Wally. Third guess will nail it for sure. Let's try France, and it looks like I blew it. That's over 1,000 kilometres worse. Bad, Wally. Now, as going from Italy to France made my guess worse, well, let's go the other way, and try Croatia. Oh, we're on par with Italy. Okay, Albania. Oh, now we're getting close. Let's try Greece, and bingo. So just guess, and based on how good or bad that guess was, make another guess. And so that's the process, just like the GPS receiver uses. A GPS receiver has a microcontroller or a mini computer which is running at megahertz or gigahertz clock frequencies, and thousands of guesses per second are super easy. And the paper I'm quoting from says that they're typically able to get to 7 decimal places with just 20 guesses on average. Now that is how a GPS receiver gets a fix, Brian. Notice that there's no need for any angles at all. It's pure multilateration.
That compass is pointing to the direction of the sub point of the satellite or signal, right?
because it doesn't matter where the signal is coming from. It's the direction of it. It's treating it as a flat plane and giving it a direction.
Brian's going to ramble on for another 15 or 20 minutes, repeating everything he just said at least 10 more times. And then...
One eternity later.
Right. Here we are, solar elevation.
Why do you think a GPS system would need to know the elevation angle to the sun, Brian?
Collective elevation, satellite elevation. As you can see, right angle triangles, that's what they use. Azimuth, right, satellite azimuth, right, solar azimuth, right, it's using azimuth. Right, that's what it's using, azimuth. And elevation, that's horizontal, that's what's known as the horizontal coordinate system.
It doesn't appear to me that this has anything to do with GPS, Brian.
Right. Illumination elevation angle. Vertical angle measured from the horizontal plane up to the sun. When the sun is directly overhead, the illumination elevation angle will be 90 degrees. This is separate from collection elevation angle, figure 6. Collection elevation angle, a vertical angle measured from the horizontal plane up to the line of sight of the sensor. When the sensor is directly overhead, the collection elevation angle will be 90. This is separate from illumination elevation angle.
Wait a minute. If the sensor is directly overhead, what's on the ground, Brian?
What they're saying is that if the sun is directly overhead, or the sensor of the same satellite is directly overhead, then your angle to it is 90 degrees straight above your head, basically. Right? Here is the problem. Here you have, right, two angles to the same, from two different points to the same satellite, right? This is claimed to be horizontal, and this is claimed to be horizontal. Now, none of them are horizontal, right? None of them are horizontal. In reality, right, to make this work with this distance of arc between them, you must straighten out the arc, right? And this is the part we're coming to soon. And the zeniths cannot diverge for this to work. To even get your angles correct, the zeniths cannot diverge. So even if these two receivers here were working in tandem.
I don't think those are receivers, Brian. I don't think those are GPS systems at all.
They'd have to, right, have parallel zeniths for this to work, right? So they can find out, and that would then change the angle here, because once they straighten out this arc, that's going to change this angle and it'll lengthen out, make the length of this and this hypotenuse longer. But what it will do is, if they can work in tandem, you'd have to have two of them. So this is not just one starting from a cold start. This would have to be two, right, working somehow in tandem. And they could figure out that if the satellite was halfway between both of them, or if they figure it off, if they were working in tandem, but they both had different, right, my angle is this, your angle is that. That means that this satellite subpoint must be exactly here along this horizontal plane.
What this is a guy trying to misrepresent a publication. This is something that was put out by the European Space Agency, something by Airbus and Telespazio. This has to do with imaging satellites, Brian. It has nothing to do with GPS. You can read the title right there. Technical note, harmonization of terms relevant to angles. And the angles they are specifically talking about is the angle to the sun at the time the satellite passes over an area that they're trying to make an image of, and the angle of the camera in the satellite to ensure that they're getting the image they're looking for. Let's scroll down and read the description. This technical note deals with the ambiguities related to angles involved during the satellite acquisition process. After reviewing several satellite image metadata files provided by the CCMEs and the relevant scientific literature on the subject, the CQT team identified various ambiguities which are reported and discussed in this technical note. They're just trying to clear up terms here, Brian, so everybody knows what they're talking about. But the images that you're relying on, let's scroll down here and we'll find them in a second, begins with this one. And of course it shows the angle to the sun. Absolutely. That's going to be pretty important if you're trying to make pictures of something on the ground. It also shows the angle to the satellite. But that's not being measured, Brian. That is this viewing angle. That is what the ground controllers are telling the satellite to do. They want it to aim its camera in that particular direction. Now, trying to represent this as having anything to do with GPS is just basically dishonest, my friend.
Another eternity later.
In conclusion, this can't work on the globe. The receiver just has this angle here. It can't figure out even this angle, right? And even if it can figure out this angle and it has a 90 here, right? It can go, right? I have this angle here. This is 90, so it knows what this angle is, right? But that doesn't give it length of sides. And even if it did have this hypotenuse length, it can then only work out this adjacent and this opposite length, right? But that puts the sub point up here. No matter what way you twist or turn it, geometrically there is just no way out. So I'm sorry to the people who follow the globe. I'm sorry that this video is going to hurt you. And it is going to hurt you. You're not going to like this video. You're going to hate me.
Only from face palming.
Oh, we don't hate you, Brian. Why would we do that? You provide us with endless hours of entertainment with some of the dumb stuff you come up with. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that little like and subscribe button down there. There's a link to my Patreon and PayPal. If you feel so inclined, I would certainly appreciate it. And with that, I guess we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, see you, Blue.
Poor old Brian.
Yes. I mean, no, it's funny. He looks at it and says, "Oh, that's not possible." Well, even if it was possible, it was not. It's like his geometry. He thinks he's good at geometry. I think it's trouble.
I don't care where the signal's coming from, but it's not coming from space. It can't.
Can't be, no. Even if you show that it's coming from space, that doesn't matter. Convenient, yes.
Yeah, well, Flurfs carry on using GPS and just deny how it works.
Yep, that's right. And yes, he's making up. Basically, it's just to get the distance using time. That's why they send it out.
Yeah, crazy. But like I say, he'll tell everybody else that they're wrong. He's just made stuff up, but everybody else is wrong because he's a bit like Gary. He's never wrong. Whatever he comes out with, you can't tell him he's never wrong.
No, that's right. There's no way he could possibly have made an error.
No. Ignorance and arrogance go hand in hand, I'm afraid.
Okay, talk about making errors. We've got Toon talks about. I've got two Toons here. So we've got Toon talking about Whitsitt. Best flat earther debater fails to explain orbits. Where he's talking about his time with going to the South Pole. I think we'll do the talking about orbits. This was a.
After my last couple videos on Austin Whitsitt's word salad, the flat earthers have gone insane attacking me.
Well, they did that before,
have struck a nerve. But strangely, they never even try to have evidence for their precious dirt pizza. If there was any evidence for flat earth, they would be posting it. This is how they admit that flat earth is a lie. So what better way to expose their failure than to do it again? When Whitsitt was on InfoWars with Harrison Smith, the topic of how planets orbit came up.
How do you explain these paths and this motion without, a force acting on the planets other than gravity? I mean, how do you have a planet going towards and away from us if they're circling around us?
Well, there is a force. Automatically, there's some type of force, right? Because everything's moving around.
Austin agrees there's a force. I bet he's about to explain how this force makes planets orbit over flat Earth in that spirograph pattern.
There's some type of force, right? Because everything's moving around. If you look at a Ferrel cell image of a magnetic field,
who is surprised that he deflected away from explaining how this force works.
So it's just a creative invention that was made. You used 2 little pieces of glass, you put ferrule fluid and another fluid inside of it, line it with LED lights, and you can see the magnetic field.
Right.
It makes that exact same pattern. It's a torus field, sacred geometry, the golden ratio. That torus field, every one of those planets pass fit perfectly within a torus field. And of course, the heliocentric side's explanation for this is it's just a coincidence, which is pretty ridiculous.
The ridiculous thing is that the magnetic field Austin shows does not make the same spirograph patterns as the planets. It's just a series of circles offset from each other. Not a single one of the planet's paths matches even remotely. So here's the question to ponder. Is Austin so oblivious that he doesn't realize that these don't even remotely match? Or does Austin know they don't match, but he's confident that his staggeringly gullible followers won't even notice?
Well, because we see the same, the same geometry everywhere.
But how can it match perfectly when each planet is a different path? I mean, they can't all match perfectly because they don't match each other.
Yeah, but within a torus field, there are multiple different paths. Right, so if you look at a Ferrel cell image, and I could maybe pull it up, but if you look at a magnetic field, you're going to see that all of those patterns are in there individually. And basically, each one of these quote-unquote planets are taking their own path within this torus field. They all fit within it perfectly.
If by perfectly you mean not at all. And what kind of child's mind would think that just because things look similar, they are the same? With that kind of juvenile thinking, would anyone be surprised if Whitsitt tried to have a deep and meaningful conversation with this tree? Or these peppers? And then Austin could ride off in his mighty steed, the Cloud Horse. That's what it looks like, so according to Whitsitt, that's what it is. Well, now that Austin has set the foundation that in his fantasy world, things look alike, therefore they are the same, and also that the spirograph planet paths and the magnetic field lines do not actually look alike, let's hear about the force that causes these paths.
I will actually say you can use a Lorentz magnetic force to not get too technical, but it's pretty funny that you can show what's called a dynamic equivalence, meaning the way that the force makes objects move around each other from a geocentric universe, and it's a magnetic Lorentzian force. And what a coincidence, the patterns of the planets fit perfectly within a magnetic field's geometry. So it's more elegant, actually.
Austin packed a lot of salad into that collection of words. There's at least 3 big assumptions here. First, he claims that the Lorentz magnetic force causes these spirograph patterns, but he doesn't want to get too technical.
To not get too technical.
Austin never gets technical. The limit of his ability is to find some technical term and just say it.
Magnetic Lorentzian force.
But did he show how this force causes the planets to move in that pattern? Maybe he did that on his own channel. Of course not. Whitsitt's tactic in debates is to name drop some term that his opponent has not heard of. This term doesn't support the claim, but it doesn't matter to flat earthers. They imagine that the earth becomes flat if a globe proponent didn't have that term fully understood and was ready to respond to it. This tactic only works for a short time because intelligent people look up the term and discover it has no application to his claim. But don't worry, Mr. Salad Shooter will make up a new term as soon as the old term is shown to be useless. The Lorentz force applies to charged particles in both an electric field and a magnetic field. Coulomb's law determines the force from the electric field, and a similar equation determines the force from the magnetic field. You add these together and get the Lorentz force. This is a highly simplified explanation. Determining the complete force is much more complicated because the moving charges themselves generate a magnetic force.
What a coincidence, the patterns of the planets fit perfectly within a magnetic field's geometry.
Whitsitt only talks about the magnetic field, then brings up the Lorentz force, showing that he has no clue about the topic. To substantiate his claim, Whitsitt will need to determine both the electric and magnetic field that he thinks the planets move through. the charge of the planets themselves, and then how these very specific patterns would happen. Now, assumption number 2 is that Whitsitt is glossing over these patterns are from the geocentric globe model, not flat Earth. The geocentric globe model claims that the globe Earth is in the middle of the solar system and the sun orbits the Earth 150 million kilometers away. The spirograph patterns of the planets from this geometry are also millions of kilometers away, not small and local like the flat Earth mythology says. Yet he still claims the planet paths are due to the Lorentz force. This is a solar system-sized electric and magnetic field. So sharpen your pencil, Salad Boy, you've got a lot of work to do. But that's not it. Now we get to the biggest assumption yet. How do these planet paths relate to his claim of flat Earth? Well, he just tosses together a quick salad and says, dynamic equivalence. That'll fool the gullible.
It's pretty funny that you can show what's called a dynamic equivalence, meaning the way that the force makes objects move around each other, from a geocentric universe.
It's pretty funny that dynamic equivalence does not mean that you take a 3D geocentric globe solar system and all the forces that don't actually work and change to a small 2D system with different geometry. The dynamics are not equivalent. Forces change, masses change, field strengths change. Nothing about the dynamics is the same. It's also pretty funny that Whitsitt just tosses that out there, and none of his faithful acolytes presses him to show how these are dynamically equivalent. Whitsitt is just trying to say the word projection when he means projection. He is suggesting that you take the geocentric globe solar system and project it to a tiny little flat Earth. But when you do that, the paths of the planets get modified too. And the distances. This would completely change all the work Whitsitt will never be doing on the Lorentz force. What are the paths of the planets over flat Earth? Nobody knows. There are no flat Earth astronomers measuring the positions of celestial bodies and charting them in the Tupperware lid of the Terra Tortilla. How can Whitsitt pretend that he applied the Lorentz force to the planet's paths if they haven't even been charted over the dirt pizza? Who would have known that his quick statement had so many wild assumptions in it?
If we use like Occam's razor, that which requires the least amount of assumptions is most likely to be true.
Maybe you should start taking your own advice there, Assumption Boy. Your entire worldview is nothing but assumptions without any empirical evidence. So did you find that triple-decker nothing sandwich with extra word salad filling? Do you need a little dressing on the side? I'm still working on the next installment testing Whitsitt's gravity replacement, so keep looking for that. Austin also tried to explain the orbit of the ISS and other satellites over Frisbeeland. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can apply a Lorentzian magnetic force to have that video played when it comes out.
I was previously going to say, it seems Whitsitt these days is spouting some weird mix of Sun Genis and Magnetic Festa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And still claiming it's flat.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't spend much time claiming it's flat anymore. He's more of a globe denier. Yeah.
But so many of them are now, because it's sort of like they realise they try and go to sort of down this, any evidence of flat just easily gets pulled apart. So we'll just try and deny the globe instead. It's a bit.
Yeah. Because if we claim it's flat, then we have to provide evidence. So
let's
not do that. Yeah.
Well, I get the bit that if it's not a sphere, it's got to be flat. Is their default option?
No, they've sort of steered away from that a little bit now.
Yeah, no, because once you start to say, well, if it's flat, provide your model. Oh, no, we don't have a model. Well, provide how this works if it's flat. No, you can't do that.
It's more of like, well, we don't know what shape it is, but we know it's not a globe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
anything as long as we don't admit to A, we've been wrong, and B, that maybe science says some of this stuff right. Well, I'm going to call it a quits very shortly, but I thought we'll play one more of it.
Righto.
Cool.
Oh, good, I haven't seen this yet.
So you still think the Earth is round, right? Like they told you when you got indoctrinated at your slave consumer indoctrination
Sorry about that.
public school, right?
Shut up. Shut up. Okay, silence is golden.
You're making a fool out of yourself.
That's all right, Floyd. It gives people something to laugh at.
But have you ever really looked at these types of details before on your own without listening to what somebody is telling you?
I'm gonna strangle you with my hands, my bare hands.
Well, Floyd, if it'll make you feel better, go ahead.
That's it. That's it. I can't. Forget it.
Because I'm here to tell you, when you start to think outside of the box just for a second, you learn that water is not curving in a ball. You learn that this ocean is not curving. Nowhere can they show you a curvature of the ocean.
Well, you sure say that a lot, so it must be true. Let me try it. Hey, everybody. I'm Mr. Rogers. But wait. I'm not wearing a sweater. And I'm about to kick your ass.
To put it simply, just think about sea level. It's not called sea curvature, it's called sea level. If it was changing and curving, there would never be anything so-called sea level. And again, just remember, a level uses water in it because water always will level out. So
It's
just
an air
keep
bubble
that in mind
in
when
water.
you're thinking about this water that is wrapped around this ball and all this gravity is apparently pulling this water in. But you learn that sea level doesn't make sense on a round Earth.
Oh, say, Eric, the morning paper didn't come. So I thought that you could tell me a story while I eat. I know how good you are at making up stories.
If this doesn't wake you up to NASA's lies, then nothing will. They're trying to tell us that this is a picture of the moon from out in space. It's not CGI, right? This is an actual picture of the dark side of the moon. Ask yourself, where's the stars?
You sprayed him in the eyes with Banaka?
Cherry Banaka, it's new.
Look at the way this green edge is popping up in here. Don't tell me that's normal or that's just what the moon does.
I smell cherry.
It's perfectly normal for that type of camera.
Banaka.
Yes.
Banaka.
Wow, bro, you don't pay taxes. Yes, sir. Why am I... Hey, let me show you why. Because they're using your tax dollars to pay for this train, homie. You see what I'm saying? What they're doing to us?
I won't sleep tonight. I'll be wriggling all over the place. Mrs. Harrison will be furious. This is, my friends, an outrage.
So why would I pay for this, bro? Why are we all voluntarily handing over our money?
Tell us what happened.
Well, you'll laugh at me.
We won't laugh at you.
Well, the moon men came back and took my socks.
I didn't vote on this. I didn't vote my tax dollars to put this moon train up. This railroad system, it's only gonna cost billions.
If you could just give me enough camphor to get to Bellevue so I can get my medication, I'd really appreciate it. I'm not violent, I'm just a little crazy. Please. I'm not violent. God bless you. I'm not violent.
They're out there.
Good job they're not building that on the moon, then, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I don't think NASA was planning to do it anyway. Well, there we go. I'm going to say goodnight, guys, and I will catch you next time. Do you guys want to say goodnight to the Peanut Gallery?
Good night, Peanuts.
Good night,
Good night, Peanuts.
Good night, Peanuts. Catch you next time. There we go. We'll finish off. Thanks, guys.